my fellow second hour art historians. Today I'm going to be talking about China and Korea to 1279 part 1. I'll also be sharing the document that I wrote all my notes on, so you guys can follow along if you want, or you don't understand something I said, you can just follow along with the document. It's pretty much exactly what I'm going to be saying, pretty much. This is a star piece, hence the stars around the piece. Okay, so this is a funeral banner from Tomb 1, Mawangdui, China, Han Dynasty, 168 BC, painted silk. Alright, so the tomb of the Marquise of Dai at Mawangdui contained a rich array of goods used for burial ceremonies and to accompany the noble woman into the afterlife. There was also an astonishingly well-preserved corpse in the innermost of the 4 sarcophagi. The most cool thing in the tomb was the T-shaped silk banner that was draped over the Marquise's coffin. Silk is the finest fabric ever produced, and silk comes from the cocoons of caterpillars called silkworms. Chinese silk and secrets of its production gradually spread across the Chinese world along what became today known as the Silk Road. Alright, so this banner is an early masterpiece of painting on silk. The area within the cross at the top of the T represents heaven, which is this piece right here at the top. The vertical section below is the human realm, and the very bottom represents the underworld. In the heavenly bottom, at the top, dragons and immortal beings appear between and below 2 orbs, the red sun and its symbol, the raven, on the right, and the silvery moon and its symbol, the toad, to the left. Below the standing figure on the first white platform, near the center of the vertical section, is probably the Marquise of Dai herself, one of the first portraits in Chinese art. The woman awaits her ascent into heaven, where she can attain more immortality. Near the bottom, the artist depicted her funeral. Between these 2 sections are 2 intertwining dragons. Their tails reach down to the underworld and their heads point to the heaven, unifying the entire composition. Alright, so China's landscape is sandy plains, mighty rivers, and towering mountains, and fertile farmlands. It is twice the size of the United States, and China boasts the world's largest population and is ethnically diverse. Spoken language varies so much that speakers of different dialects do not understand one another. The written language, through the use of characters, has made possible a shared Chinese literary, philosophic, and religious tradition. The Neolithic Age recorded settled village life as far as back as the 7th or 6th millennium BC. Uncovered in Neolithic sites were largely multi-family houses constructed of wood, bamboo, wattle, daub, and mud plaster, and equipped with hearths. These early villages also had pens for domesticated animals, kilns for pottery production, pits for storage and refuse, cemeteries for the dead. Chinese Neolithic artisans produced impressive artworks, especially from jade and clay. Alright, for Chinese earthenwares and stonewares, we have the Yangshu culture vases from Gansu province, China, mid-3rd millennium BC. The ancient Chinese potters. Ancient Chinese potters created the earliest pots in prehistoric villages. The Chinese potter showed a flair for shaping carefully prepared and kneaded clay into diverse, often dramatic, and elegant vessel forms. Until Chinese potters developed true porcelains, which are extremely fine, hard white ceramics, in around 1300 BC, they produced only 2 types of clay vessels or objects, earthenwares and stonewares. For both, potters used clays colored by mineral impurities, especially iron compounds ranging from yellow to brownish black. The clay bodies of earthenware, fired at low temperatures in open pits or simple kilns, remain soft and porous, which allows liquid to seep through. Chinese artists also used low fire technique to produce terracotta sculptures, even life-size figures of humans and animals. Over time, Chinese potters developed kilns that went up to 2,000 degrees, which allowed them to produce stoneware, named for their stone-like hardness and density. Chinese potters excelled at various techniques commonly used to decorate earthenwares and stonewares. Methods depended on changes occurring in the kiln to chemical compounds found in clay as natural impurities. When fired, color changed dramatically, depending on the conditions of the kiln. For an example, little oxygen in a hot kiln produces iron oxide, also known as rust, which turns gray or brownish black, whereas lots of oxygen produces a reddish hue. Also decorated via painting. Oldest decorative technique is where they applied slip by painting, pouring, or dipping to a clay body, yet not fully dry. Natural varieties of clay produces a broad, if not bright, range of colors as seen in Neolithic vessels. Potters often added compounds such as iron oxide to the slip to change or intensify the colors. After the vessel is partially dried, potters incised the lines through the slip to the clay body to produce designs seen in later Chinese stonewares. They also inlaid designs, carving them into plain vessel surfaces and then filling them with slip or soft clay or contrasting color. Vessels were decorated with glaze for a glassy surface. Often translucent glazes were used, but opaque, richly colored glazes also became common. Sometimes painters allowed the thick glazes to run around the sides of the vase or a figurine to produce dramatic effects. Alright, for Yangshuo pottery, the mastery of pottery occurred at a very early date. Potters of the Yangshuo culture, which arose along the Yellow River, produces fine decorated earthenware bowls, even before the invention of the potter's wheel in the 4th millennium BC. In the 3rd millennium, the Yangshuo of Jiangsu province formed by hand and then painted vessels of astonishing sophistication. The multiplicity of shapes suggests wide variety of functions in daily life, but most of them were found in graves. Decoration was often done in red and brownish black on a cream-colored ground. Some include stylized animal motifs, but some have abstract designs. The painters were referred to have a highly refined aesthetic sensibility, effectively integrating a variety of angular and curvilinear geometric motifs, including stripes, zigzags, lozenges, and spirals and waves. Alright, this is the Guang, probably from Anyang, China, Shang Dynasty, 12th or 11th century BC, and it's bronze and 6.5 feet high. This is the finest bronzes of 2nd millennium BC are from the Shang artists, created using special piece molds. Shang bronzes show mastery in casting rivaling than that of any other ancient civilization. Great numbers of cast bronze vessels suggest well-organized workshops. Shang bronzes held wine, water, grain, and meat for sacrificial rites. Each vessel's shape matched its intended purpose. All features densely covered with the abstract and animal motifs. On the Guang illustrated here, the multiple designs and their fields of background spirals integrate so closely with the form of the libation-pouring vessel that they are not merely an external embellishment, but an integral part of the sculpture as a whole. Some motifs on the Guang side may represent the eyes of the tiger and the horns of a ram. A horned animal forms the front of the lid, and at the rear a horned head with a bird's beak. Another horned head appears at the handle. Fish, birds, elephants, rabbits, and more abstract composite creatures swarm over the surface against the background of the spirals. The fabulous animal forms, real and imaginary, on Shang bronzes are unlikely to be purely decorative. They probably inhabit the world of spirits addressed in the rituals. Now we have the Shang Dynasty and the Sansing-dui. During the past century, archaeologists have been confirming the existence of China's earliest royal dynasties, long thought have been mythical. Shang Dynasty is the first great Chinese dynasty of the Bronze Age. Shang kings ruled from the series of royal capitals in the Yellow River Valley and vied for power and territory with the rulers of neighboring states. Anyang is the last Shang capital. Archaeologists found the excavations at Anyang. They found a large number of objects, turtle shells, animal bones, and bronze containers, inscribed in the earliest form of Chinese language. These fragmentary records and other finds at Anyang provide important information about the Shang kings and their affairs. They reveal a warlike, highly stratified society. Walls of pounded earth protected the Shang cities. Servants, captives, and even teams of charioteers with chariots and horses accompanied Shang kings to their tombs, a practice also documented in Mesopotamia at the Royal Cemetery of Ur. Excavated tomb furnishings include weapons and a great wealth of objects in jade, ivory, lacquer, and bronze. Not only the kings have lavish burials. In the tomb of Fu Hao, the wife of Wu Ding, contained an ivory beaker inlaid with turquoise and more than 1,000 jade and bronze objects. The Chinese used many vessels found in the Shang tombs. For example, the guang, shaped like a covered gravy boat, in sacrifices to ancestors and in funerary cemeteries, and in funerary ceremonies. In some cases, families set up shrines for ancestor worship above burial sites. Shang artists cast their elaborate bronze vessels in piece molds. Sansingdui, the same time Anyang flourished under its Shang rulers in northern China, so did other major centers with distinct aesthetic traditions. Pits at Sansingdui in southwestern China, archaeologists yielded a treasure of elephant tusks and objects of gold, bronze, jade, and clay types never before discovered. They attest to an independent kingdom of enormous wealth and contemporaneous with the better-known Shang dynasty. Chinese represents the most dramatic find at Sansingdui was this bronze statue more than 8 feet tall. Chinese representations of the human figure on this scale are otherwise unknown at this early date. The most dramatic find at Sansingdui is this bronze statue more than 8 feet tall, called the Standing Male Figure from Pit 2, Sansingdui, China, 1200 to 1050 BC. Chinese representations of human figure on this scale are otherwise unknown at this early date. Statue matches Anyang in a masterful casting technique. Very different in subject and style from the Shang bronzes. Over life-size bronze figures shocked historians who had formed their ideas about the Bronze Age Chinese aesthetics solely on Shang material. The figure is highly stylized, with elongated proportions and large, staring eyes. Stands on base composed of 4 legs, formed of fantastic animal heads with horns and trunk-like snouts. The statue tapers gently as it rises, and the figure gradually becomes rounder. Just below the neck, great arms branch dramatically outward and ending in the oversized hands that once held an object, most likely one of the elephant tusks buried in the pit 2 with the bronze statue. Surface decorations of squared, spiral, and hook-pointed curves are all that link this monumental statue to the small scale and intricate Shang piece mold of bronze vessels. Alright, that's all I have for China. I hope this wasn't too awful watching, but I hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas, and I hope you guys have fun. Happy New Year's, and I'll see you guys later. Dragons and immortals, being immortal beings appear between the below. Dragons and immortal beings appear between the below. What the?